like the show that I'm going to be reviewing, fear does not exist in this dojo. Pain does not exist in this dojo. Defeat does not exist in this dojo. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. For this Wednesday Rewind, I'm going to be taking a look at the former YouTube Premium show, now Netflix show, Cobra Kai. Now, I was supposed to do another podcast today, but things kind of fell through, and so I decided to review Cobra Kai, because it just went to Netflix, which fucking finally, because when this show came out, I remember when it came out on YouTube Premium, and a lot of people liked it, but since it was on YouTube Premium, not a lot of people were watching it, because I feel like YouTube Premium, along with Amazon Prime, and I think Amazon Prime's a little bit better with it now, is that when they came out with their subscription services, not many people knew that they were putting out original content until, like, you told them about it. Like, it's not like a Netflix or a Hulu where it's pretty much, like, known, like, this is a streaming site. This is, like, other sites that have something, and then this also comes with it. So, at the time, I mean, Cobra Kai was liked. It was really well liked. I mean, it got 3 seasons paid for by YouTube. So, I mean, it had a following. And so, yeah, things fell through, and so I accidentally rewatched Season 1 and Season 2 of Cobra Kai. I really wasn't planning on rewatching them, like, back to back to back, but, I mean, the show's so fucking good that I had no problem doing so. And I like that the streaming shows follow a particular formula when it's, like, 8 to 10 episodes, and pretty much every episode is going to range from 30 to 45 minutes flat. And so you're pretty much able to get a consensus on how much time you're going to spend watching these shows. So I really do like that aspect of streaming shows opposed to cable shows where, like, if you watch, like, let's say Supernatural, because I love Supernatural, and you watch it on Netflix, it's funny because they'll have the breaks, the commercial breaks in between, and, like, it'll just fade to dark and then back to the show when you know, like, oh, there was a commercial in this spot. But when you go to, like, a Netflix show, like a Netflix original, like Stranger Things and now Cobra Kai, there's no commercial spot. It is just show from beginning to end. But yes, back to my review. So I remember when the first season came out, and I had seen clips, and I think at the time YouTube had put out the first 2 episodes for free, which is a pretty good marketing point. I mean, for YouTube Premium, like, hey, like, we got this badass show, here's the first 2 episodes free, check them out, and then sign up for YouTube Premium, and then you get no ads, nothing, you get just pure video, and then you also get these original works as well. And it's crazy because, I mean, when this show came out, I'm pretty sure it was shopped to Netflix. I'm pretty sure they brought this to Netflix, and Netflix probably said, like, you know what, like, we like the concept, it's just that we're probably doing too much at the time, or they weren't really sure about whether or not this show was going to work, and they didn't want to dump all this money into it, and so they probably passed on it. And it's a shame, mostly because, I mean, from the beginning, this show seems like a Netflix show. This seems like something Netflix would do. But YouTube picked it up. I mean, it's crazy because, I mean, to think, oh, YouTube's stepping up into the streaming show game. And yeah, they stepped up big with this show. I mean, the thing I like about this show is that it perpetuates on the fan theory that Daniel-san was actually the villain in Cobra Kai. I mean, not in Cobra Kai, in Karate Kid. But, I mean, he's not the villain. But, like in everything, like in superhero movies or any action movie, the villain sees the good guy as the villain. And it makes sense. Like, everyone's going to have their point of view. And so, from this show, you see from Johnny's point of view, especially in the future, they've both grown up. It's been 30 years. Daniel's had all this success in life. He has his own auto dealerships, several of them. He's making very good money. He has a very beautiful wife. He has a nice house. He has 2 wonderful kids. And he's made a success of himself. And Johnny, on the other hand, while in Karate Kid, he was the rich kid. He had all the popularity. He didn't have as glorious a life as you would think. Like, he had a stepdad who was a dick, and he really didn't have anybody until he joined Cobra Kai. And even in Cobra Kai, he had a pretty abusive sensei in John Kreese. And so you see Johnny in the future, and he's not a success at all. I mean, he's pretty much just working job to job, and he's living in this really piece of shit apartment. And then next thing you know, he gets a check from his stepdad, and his stepdad tells him, "I'm buying you out. I don't want anything to do with you anymore." And so he gives him a check. And I think before this part in the show, he had beat up some kids who were picking on a nerd, who's one of the main characters in the show, Miguel. Let me just do a quick breakdown of the main characters of the show. The main characters are going to be Johnny Lawrence, played by William Zabka, Ralph Macchio. And another thing to break down, Ralph Macchio was like 55, 56 when he made the first season. The dude doesn't look anywhere over the age of maybe late 30s, early 40s. It's fucking nuts that he looks this good at his age. So yeah, we got the 2 returning main characters from Karate Kid. We also got, okay, don't hate me if I butcher this name. I am sorry. We got Zolo Maridueña playing Miguel Diaz. He is going to be the first student of Cobra Kai, the new Cobra Kai, developed by Johnny Lawrence, who's down on his luck. Then we have Mary Mauser playing Samantha LaRusso. She plays Daniel's daughter. Then we have Robbie Keane, who's played by Tanner Buchanan, who is the son of Johnny Lawrence, but he has his mom's last name. We have Jacob Beltran playing Eli Moskowitz, later gets renamed to Hawk, another member of Cobra Kai. We have Courtney Hengler, who plays Amanda LaRusso, Daniel's wife. We have Peyton List, who makes her debut in Season 2 as Tori Schwartz. And then we have Nicole Brown as Aisha Robin, the second student of Cobra Kai. And those are pretty much the main characters of Cobra Kai. Not saying that there's not any more characters, but these are going to be the main ones that you're going to see throughout the show. And so, yeah, you see Johnny defend this kid who's a bit of a nerd. He's a lot like Daniel LaRusso was when he was a kid. And it makes sense as to why Johnny would help him out. And so when Johnny forms the new Cobra Kai, yeah, he wants to envelop some of the old ways, but he also wants to envelop some of the new ways, because he doesn't want to be like his old sensei John Kreese, who was a dick. Like, he wants to be a badass. That's the thing I love about this show, is that it takes all the cheesiness, all the 80s tropes, and it just bumps them up to 10, and it just works somehow. In the age of 2020, in the age of internet, in the age of political correctness, like, it works. Because a lot of the stuff, like, it just didn't work back then, but he takes all that stuff and he makes it work. Yeah, so in the very first season, you see Johnny Lawrence develop the new Cobra Kai that is loosely based off of his old sensei's rules and regulations, but he wants to instill some new rules and regulations to the point where it's not as demoralizing as it was back then. He really wants to build these kids up, because now Cobra Kai isn't the top dog anymore. Cobra Kai has been gone since the 80s. There pretty much is no other karate dojo that you really see throughout the show. And so his pick of the litter, especially in the first season, is not the badasses that were in the old show. I mean, not the old show, the old movie. There was no badasses. He pretty much has to take in the nerds, and he makes them badasses in this show. You see it with the character Eli. He turns him from Eli to Hawk, where he has a mohawk and he gets a tattoo on his back. And then another character, the second student of Cobra Kai, Aisha, who is friends with Daniel LaRusso's daughter, and she ends up going to Cobra Kai because she wants to be a badass. I mean, she's not the prettiest girl, she's not the ideal girl that you see in TV shows, and so she wants to change that. She wants to have some self-confidence in herself. And by the end of the first season, she actually becomes like a badass. She beats the shit out of people, and it's hilarious. And along with Miguel, since he's the main student of Cobra Kai in the very beginning, you could tell that Johnny is really trying to make up for being a bad dad. So that's one of the main things in the show, is that Johnny has been a pretty absent father. I mean, he's pretty much drunk in the very beginning. And you find out that he has a son, and he's just pretty much never been in his son's life. His son is also pretty much going down the wrong path. He's stealing a bunch of things. He's a part of this little crime ring. And then he eventually gets a job working for Daniel LaRusso to get back at his dad. And then he ends up becoming friends with Daniel LaRusso. He becomes his second student at Miyagi-Do. And so it's a really crazy dynamic to see, because you see Johnny, who's trying to make up for being a bad dad, to his first student, Miguel, who doesn't have a dad, and he lives in the same apartment building as him. He lives with his mom and his grandma. And you can tell, like, Johnny really wants to take this kid under his wing. He wants to make up for the mistakes that he made in the past. And he really does that for the most part. He really does, like, instill confidence into this kid who starts off as a nerd in the very beginning, and then pretty much begins to defend himself, like, very well, and is no longer a nerd anymore. The other character that you see is Daniel LaRusso's daughter, who pretty much left karate behind. I mean, she just didn't want to do it anymore. I mean, she's a girl, and by what I mean in the show is that you could see, like, she's pretty much stuck because she's also a nerd, but she also wants to be a part of the popular girls. And so she kind of starts leaving her nerd friends behind, like Aisha. And so you can tell, like, she's in this point in her life where she's just really trying to figure out who she is. And that's the point of high school. Everyone's trying to figure out who they are. But yeah, that seems to be her story in the very first season. So the first season delves with them developing Cobra Kai, and eventually it leads to the season finale, where Cobra Kai fights Miyagi-Do. At this time, Daniel LaRusso finds out that Robbie is Johnny's kid, and he wants nothing to do with him because he feels hurt, feels betrayed. And Miguel at the time hates Robbie because Robbie had this instance where it looked like he was trying to pick up Miguel's girlfriend. So they hate each other, naturally. And they end up fighting in the All Valley tournament from Karate Kid, the first movie. And except at the end of the first movie, Miyagi-Do wins. At the end of Cobra Kai, Miguel wins. And it's really weird to see, because you do see some instances where it's like, oh man, like, is Miguel going to be the bad guy? Like, I really like this kid, because you like this kid from the first episode on, but you can see, like, he's starting to turn, and it happens with all high school kids, man. I mean, high school kids are morons for the most part. It's a time of trial and error, and you're just trying to figure out who you are. So, at this point, he's a moron. But, yeah, at the end of the first season, you're just like, man, am I going to end up liking this kid, or am I not? It's kind of like Joe Keery from Stranger Things when he plays Steve. He plays Steve, and you're not sure if you're going to like this guy after the first season. But no, I mean, so after the first season, we find out that John Kreese is not dead. He comes back, and he decides to take in a role at Cobra Kai, and is basically like a mentor in the dark. But you can see, like, the dynamic in season 2 is that he's really, like, manipulating the kids more to the older ways of Cobra Kai. He's turning them into dicks. And you could tell, like, Johnny doesn't want to go that way. He wants to be a mentor to these kids. He wants them to be better than what he was. Miguel notices that, and Miguel is trying to follow that direction. And in season 2, Ralph Macchio brings back Miyagi-Do for full time. He wants more students. He wants to go against Cobra Kai. But this also leads to a rift in his personal life, with his wife, with his work. So he's also dealing with that little drama as well. Samantha, who's played by Mouser, comes back to Miyagi-Do, and she decides to train alongside her dad and Robbie. And so they become the main 2 students of Miyagi-Do for the most part. They do get more students throughout the show. At Cobra Kai, it's a little bit different. The main new character that we're introduced to in season 2 is Tori, who is, by all accounts, the quintessential badass. Like, you could tell, like, this girl has had a pretty rough go at it. She comes straight into the class, and, like, she's like, I love a challenge. And so at the very first day, Johnny makes Miguel and her fight, and Miguel gives it to her. Like, he pretty much, like, fights her pretty well, but she's giving it right back to him. She's kicking his ass. And so you really get to see a nice little dynamic there, and you also see the development of young love. I mean, at this point, him and his former girlfriend Samantha, Daniel LaRusso's daughter, have broken up. You can tell he's heartbroken, and he's looking at Tori as, like, the girl who's a friend, and, like, and you could tell Tori likes him because he's the alpha dog of Cobra Kai, and I think they just generally get along with each other. And so, yeah, there's gonna be that whole rift between all those characters, between Robbie, Samantha, Miguel, and Tori. They are just all gonna, like, hate each other. And so you see Robbie and Samantha develop a relationship as well. And then you see Miguel and Tori develop a relationship as well, because they're both, like, hard kids who've had it rough in life. And you see Robbie develop a relationship with Samantha because, I mean, they're both students at Miyagi-Do. They both like each other. They both have the same interests, same, like, things like that. And so you see them develop this relationship, and it really, like, flourishes throughout season 2. And with season 2, you see for me, the main theme for season 2 was that even the good guys who have the best intentions in the world can do the worst things. And you see that a lot in season 2. You see the good guys do a lot of bad things because they're trying to do the best that they can, but eventually it leads them doing the bad possible things in that situation. So the theme for season 2, I feel like, is that. And then for Johnny, you see him really trying to compete with Miyagi-Do, and he also has the pestering thing of the past with John Kreese chirping in his ear as well. And you can tell he just doesn't want anything to do with this guy, but he feels bad for him, and he wants to bring him into the fold. And near the end, I mean, you could just tell, like, it just bites him in the ass. And I really don't want to spoil it too much. I really want you all to watch it. I really think that you all would love this show. I mean, it's a great show. I would recommend it 10 times over. I've recommended it 10 times over to everybody that will listen. I really think this show is going to be one of the next big shows from Netflix. I see it going on maybe 5-6 seasons. I'm not saying because it's going to be a bad show. I'm saying because I feel like with the run of these streaming shows, it doesn't need to go on for, like, Supernatural's on season, 15, I believe? It doesn't need to go on for 15 seasons, because with those type of shows, you see them go on for so long, and they get so campy, and they get so boring after a while. And it gets so hard to reinvent this show for another season, and so on and so forth. I feel like with this show, with Stranger Things, with Orange is the New Black, with a lot of these streaming shows, with Narcos, like, it gets very repetitive, but for the short time that they're there, these things are, like, short not short. These things are long movies that are just broken up into parts, and in the end, it works. It works immensely well. So, I mean, I'm surprised I just talked 20 minutes about this show. I really don't want to spoil too much for this show. I gave a little bit of tidbits. There's a little bit of spoilers, but I mean, I'm just trying to give the bare bones just to get you interested into the show. Please check it out. It's on Netflix. Season 3 is finally going to come out. I'm hoping early 2021. It's confirmed 2021 by Netflix. I've only seen one little teaser for it. I saw it on Joe Blow's YouTube channel for the trailer for season 1 and season 2 coming to Netflix. And there's just one little 5-second teaser for season 3 where Ralph Macchio says, "Mr. Miyagi wouldn't hide any secrets from me." And some other character says, "Oh, he wouldn't." And then you just see one of those ninja daggers, the scythe, right? Scythe. I want to say it's the scythe. It's the one that Raphael has in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and you just see it drop to the floor. And so 2021 can't come quick enough, mostly because 2020 sucks. All of it, all the dicks, it sucks them. So hopefully 2021 hits. Hopefully we get season 3 of Karate Kid, which is already filmed. I think Netflix is holding back on it because they want people to binge season 1 and 2 right now to get them interested. And from what I've been hearing, Cobra Kai has become one of the best shows on Netflix. So that is great. That is great to hear, because good chance for another season after season 3 that's already filmed. So hopefully we see a season 4. But yes, the end has come, and we all must say goodbye. I want to say thank you to everyone who's listening. Next week we're going to have a special podcast that's a little hush-hush. It might be the Clerks review I'm going to be doing with Eddie soon, or it might be my own little project that I've been working on. So Eddie, if you're listening to this, you will never find out, you bum. Fernie for president of the Rollback. And thank you for listening, everybody. This is the Rollback Presents Wednesday Rewind. Cut it.